Welcome to another Loven Stamps tutorial. The project that I have for you right now for Stamps in the Mail Club is a really neat one that focuses on highlighting the wood grain embossing folder with your Blendabilities markers. So I know you realize probably you can use Blendabilities to color in images, but you may not have thought of some of these alternate ideas for using them. So let me give you a couple of really quick tips in this video tutorial. Let's get stamping. Alright, so I'm going to take my packet from my Stamps in the Mail Club kit. I love having everything all put together. I know that I make these kits, but I still get excited to just, you know, if I have an extra one, sometimes I'll open it up and make it myself because it's so easy. Alright, and so just organized. It's all ready to go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp the flowers. I need one and a partial flower. I need a bird. And then I need just the happiness word from the Choose Happiness stamp. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, here's my Choose Happiness stamp. And let me stick it on there. And I need just the happiness word. So actually I'm going to cut off a strip here and ink this up and then stamp it. So I just have just the word that I need and then the rest of my images. Alright, so we ready to get coloring? Take your Blendabilities markers. These come 3 to a set, and they are color matched for you, so you don't need to worry about picking out tones or shades or numbers or crazy things. They come light, medium, and dark, and they say right on them, this is like the light, so you gotta read it upside down, the light marker. And there are lots of different ways to use your Blendabilities. Lots of people have different style. My personal favorite is to color from light to dark. So I like to do one sort of, if you're thinking watercoloring, it would be like a color wash. So I like to do one light color wash first to get my project started. And I'm going to go over my whole flower. When you're coloring things from nature, flowers or wood or things like that, you are best to use your marker strokes in the line with the nature of it. So better to go like a petal at a time and color rather than just over the whole thing. Just because some of your strokes may show and they come out looking most natural. Here's dark, here's a light one. If you have the sort of nature, you know, you've done them in line with the image itself. So, okay, now see all these black lines that I am going over here? These are shadow lines, and so since they are shadowed in like sort of the black and white image that's stamped, they are the ones that will have the deepest color and have the most shadow in our color here. So, in my videos, I've started calling these the color here lines. So that's with a capital C and a capital H in case you couldn't hear it. So the color here lines are the ones that the artists put on there for us so that we know where to color. With this image, you'll want to remember that the way it works is to have, like this petal here is sticking up. So this shadow here is because the petals behind it are shaded from the overlapping petal. Does that make sense? So you want to have your shadows sort of extend backwards. So from this V here, we're going to extend our shadow backwards. Alright, so there's my medium, and then I'm going to take my dark and do just a little bit. So I'm going to start sort of at the very tight, close to the color here lines. I'm not going to go quite as far out as I did with the medium marker. I'm going to stay right in close, and what that's going to do is deepen the color right there where the shadows should be darkest. Alright, see how that works? Pretty fun. These markers are just amazing. They have a really slick feel to them that just makes it kind of fun to color. Alright, so now there's quite a wide variation between the dark and the light on here. So what I like to do is go back at the end and take my light marker and just blend that a little bit, so because they are Blendabilities. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to blend it backwards. Remember, here's the shadow that's falling on these petals behind. I'm going to leave this petal alone because it's on top, but I'll blend the shadows backwards. Okay, making sense? So you can kind of picture the petals and blend back from there. Okay. All right, and then that will work our color into each other just a little bit more so that the gradation in the color looks a little more natural. All right. Through the magic of television, I have these colored and ready to cut out. And then I was going to show you on this one, what I'm doing on the middle flower is kind of going around some of those petals here to get an inside kind of effect. And honestly, it probably doesn't matter where you cut, just as long as it looks petal-ish, you should be in good shape. There we go. Okay, so there's my inner flower. And then this is going to layer here, so I'm going to grab a, look, my Stampin' Dimensionals are gone. Okay, all better. Grab a Stampin' Dimensional and pop this flower up here so that we have a fun dimensional flower. See how that works? And then my bird is going to go on here. In the Stamps the Mail Club kit was a piece of linen thread. So I'm going to take this, and if you watch the other video tutorial that had the little bird on it, you'll maybe see that my plan for adding the linen thread to the back was just to loop that around my fingers a couple times and then put a dimensional here on the back of the bird, peel the backing off, and then all I have to do is smush the linen thread down onto the dimensional. See how that works? And then it's nicely attached. I'm going to go ahead and trim an end here. And before I add this, I'm going to go ahead and put one more dimensional on just so that I make sure my twine isn't blocking the adhesive. So we'll attach that to our flower. Okay, so we're building our accent piece here, and I have that Choose Happiness banner. So I'm going to take that and trim really close. And then I will go ahead and cut some cute banner ends here after I've got it all cut out. Let's see, let me get that one a little bit closer. All right, and then this piece is when it's handy to have all those Stampin' Dimensional edgings, because all I have to do is cut a little strip and I have sort of a half-size dimensional ready to go. So I'm going to take that and slide it on my bird. We'll put it right underneath the bird here. There we go. Okay, so there's our little accent piece. Now the other thing that's included in this one is some rhinestones, and I have them here on this sheet. And for Stamps in the Mail, I usually include extra rhinestones, so you should have a few extras. I can use my Blendabilities markers to go ahead and color directly on the rhinestones. Because they're alcohol-based, you can use them to write on indelible surfaces. And I'm going to go ahead and stick a couple of these babies here on my flower. So there is our accent piece. Now let's get to our card. So we're ready to go on to our wood grain. This has been pre-embossed for you using the wood grain embossing folder for the Big Shot. And if you haven't seen that in action, you'll have to check out one of my Big Shot video tutorials. But we're going to use our Blendabilities for something a little different, and that is to highlight the grain in our pattern. So here I'll show you kind of the two different versions of it. So in order to get started on this, like I said, I usually like to start with the light color marker. So I'm going to grab my light marker and I'm going to fill in inside the grain line on most of the folder. So you want to be careful, keep your marker inside the grain line so you're not coloring the ridges, because that's the part that's going to stay light. And actually you don't even have to do all of it. I think on my sample I did the ones that are the widest, because we're going to go back and add some darker shading with the other markers there. Alright, so here's another wide section right here. And I find that when I first color it's pretty dark, and then it lightens as we as it ages, or as it starts to dry a little bit. Alright, so I will go ahead and finish doing my light here. Alright, see, like I said, when it dries, those will get a lot lighter. So next I'm going to take my medium marker, and I'm going to color right along the edge of some of those, especially, whoops, don't do that. Don't do that either. Right along the edge of the lines. And if you think about how a shadow would work, it would be the light shining from this direction. Those bumps would make a big shadow that would show up on this side. So I'm going to shadow with my medium marker along the left side of each opening. Kind of see how that works there, like that one or like that one. That way I am not creating like a weirdness shadow that doesn't exist in real life that would kind of confuse. It'd probably be one of those things that would kind of confuse your eye, even though you wouldn't quite know why you didn't like it. Alright, so you see how they're on all of these ridges. I highlighted to the left side. And again, don't panic if it looks really dark. It's going to get lighter as you allow it to dry. Okay. Alright, so that looks good. I think that gives us some good ones. Now I'm going to go back with my dark marker and do the very last step, which is to, and I probably won't even do like the whole length of those lines. I might just do some little sort of hit and miss parts, but same deal on the left side of each of those hollows. Alright, so let's move forward. I'm going to do some attaching. I have a piece of the burlap ribbon here, and my favorite way to attach burlap ribbon is with either mini glue dots or sticky strips. So I'm just going to go here and put my sticky strip right down. If I didn't make that too long, I'll have to peel it up. And remember, when you use sticky strip, the harder you push the sticky strip down, the easier it is to remove the red backing tape. So I'm going to slide that there. And if you need to trim your burlap ribbon from your kit, you can trim that. Otherwise, it should be about right. And then I have this piece of this gorgeous sheer linen ribbon, which just gets rave reviews from everybody who uses it. And I am going to put another piece of sticky strip here because this is what I'm going to use to make our ruffle. Alright, and I'll push this down. And yes, I realize it's hard to see on there because the background cardstock is red, but again, the harder you push it down, the easier it is to peel off. And I am going to start with my ribbon. I'm just going to press just a little bit of it there into my sticky strip. And then I'm going to take my free end of the ribbon out here. I'm going to turn it a little bit so it's pointed kind of this direction. And I'm going to press that into my sticky strip. See this ruffle it's forming? Then I'm going to take this and go this way and press it. Now, what I'm not doing is looping this here like that. See how the ribbon folded over that way? I don't want to do the fold. I just want to bring it across so that it is making a ruffle. You see the difference there? Alright, so anyway, to the left. I feel like we need that song. It's copyrighted, right? I can't use it. To the right, to the left, to the... And if you don't know the song, just pretend to sing along. Or ignore me, because that works too. Alright, so then I'm going to go back and forth until I have just kind of a little bit left over. And then just to sort of decorate our back a little bit, I'm going to throw some snail on there. And sort of burnish that with my finger so that it sticks nicely. And there we have a gorgeous ribbon. So remember that fun embellishment that we made? I am going to use I'll use a couple of these since I have my edge pieces. Go ahead and throw these on there and take my embellishment and stick it down. And there we go. There is a super fun Stamps the Mail Club card for this month. Remember, if you don't have a kit, you can still get one. They make a variety of really fun projects this month using Choose Happiness and some great tutorials for making the most of using your Blendabilities marker. So be sure to let me know if you need a kit. Check my blog, my website, and subscribe to me on YouTube so you don't miss any videos. Thanks so much for stamping with me.